But we're working on
So,
it.
next question. Yes, we are. Next question is Pasta Babe. Linda James says,
Pasta Babe,
this
I love
one,
that.
yeah. Not. She has it's a question for NotJah actually. What was the last straw thing that made him say you're done with the org of JWs? Do your parents know of your choice, and how did that affect the family bond?
That is a lot in a single, a lot to explain in a single question. I suppose in short, there was enough doubts in my mind when I was working towards becoming a baptized brother at a young age. Then the elder who was guiding me through said some really silly things, and I realized that he didn't know what he was talking about, therefore the organization don't really know what they're talking about, because he was just parroting them. So from I think I was about 12, I left the actual organization itself, but I kept my beliefs. So from there, I didn't have to go to like meetings and whatnot anymore, or go witnessing. But my faithful family, my father isn't. He is sort of just don't want to know, don't give a shit, don't care about religion, about anything. Not my business. I go to work and I pay the bills. That's all I do. That's who he is. So it's like the other side of the family sort of had to just live with it. They didn't really, there was no kicking me out because I wasn't baptized. So my mother has got the optimism and the spirit to try and bring me back. And I don't think they know that this recent transition has happened though, which is in February when I lost my faith completely and all of my beliefs, and I realized that it was a cult. And that was sort of an accumulation of YouTubing, finally letting myself watch the videos and the creators who were actively going against the witnesses. Because as I said, I used to get right into Scientology, exposés, and all sorts of other religions. As a Jehovah's Witness, you go out witnessing to people, exposing their religions. You're trying to deconvert them from their religion and into your own. So I always knew all the downsides to other religions. I just never knew them about my own. So it all just clicked, and I was like, it's all one big load of shit, So that's about February this year, somewhere there, when I started my channel.
Oh. So the next question was from Mark Caesar. Chris, do you think Scientology is more immune to the information revolution than other religions?
Yes, because of the control factors that are put on the members to not read anything critical about Scientology and avoid it like the plague. The brainwashing there, and I use that as a very loose term. I mean, it's not any kind of technical term. But let's just say the mind control is very strong. It's obviously not been strong enough to keep, a ton of members from leaving over the last 8-9 years. So, on the people who are looking at the internet, who are watching Going Clear, who do look at Leah's show, they tend to take a step out, and then they take another and another. And I think David Miscavige might be a little upset, he's the current leader of Scientology, to learn how many people are in Scientology right now who aren't really in. They just have to say they are so that they don't lose their family.
Very, very similar to the
there's
dogs.
an awful...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's exactly all these groups, the shunning principle. So
yes.
I think they'd be a little surprised at how many of them are not really true believers anymore.
Cool. Yeah, it's being isolated from your family, I can't even imagine.
Oh.
So next question is from Duke Bonanza. Chris, do you know anything about Leah Reminis' court case against Scientology?
I'm going to have to say no, because I didn't know she had a court case against Scientology.
I'll admit I didn't know that either.
I know she's got a TV show.
Yeah.
He said at the end of, I think it was at the end of season 1, beginning of season 2, they were going into this next season, and they had gone and talked to some lawyers.
Yes.
And that is, whatever's going on with that, I am not privy to. But I am not aware of her having actually filed any case against Scientology as I sit here right now. However, watch season 3, because I'm also told that there's going to be some amazing things in season 3, and maybe some of them might be of a legal nature. So that's probably coming probably early next year. We'll see.
Okay, cool. So next is Beach Price asks, have you ever been to the Museum of Psychiatry?
Yes. Yes, I have. The Psychiatry and Industry of Death Museum. It's on Hollywood Boulevard. I actually helped build some of that place. When I was in the Sea Org on the prison detail, I was making furniture, and some of that furniture was in that building. Yeah, it's quite something. Scientology really, this is one of the unique things that Scientology offers, is a hatred of psychiatry. Absolutely, they want to eradicate. There is no coexistence. It is eradicate, destroy, annihilate. These are the words they use to describe what Scientology wants to do to psychiatry. They think that psychiatrists are the single sole reason why everything on this planet is as insane as it is. I mean, that they think, of course, they don't like the government, and they don't like government leaders and authoritarians and stuff. Those guys have blame too. But the psychiatrists are really the bad guys. And they want to do anything they can to convince people that psychiatry is the most evil force on planet Earth.
That is I remember hearing the history of that too. One quick question I have on that is, do they hold the same feeling towards psychology? Because a lot of the times those two
pretty much
put into the same. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Psychology is not excluded from that. Hubbard extensively used the word psychiatry more so than psychology. Scientologists think of psychologists as psychiatry light. You know, they're like, oh, psychologists are just full of it. They have nothing workable, nothing that they're doing helps anybody. But psychiatry is the actual, they're the murderers. They're the brain choppers. They're the lobotomizers. They're the guys who, you know, will give all of your kids drugs. They don't care about your kids. They're just going to drug them up because they're in league with Big Pharma to make money and destroy the planet. And they know what they're doing, and they're doing it with malice aforethought. That's their view on that. Yeah.
Of course. And to that, Beej says, oh my gosh, he actually helped make it. Yikes.
I know. It's not like I say that with pride, okay?
So next question is Bad Tempered Badger asks, what's the deal with the aliens?
Oh, God.
All right, this is actually a pretty simple explanation. Here's the deal. If you buy into one very specific idea, everything else rolls from it. The one idea you buy into in Scientology, and it's a very simple idea, is that you are an immortal spiritual being who has lived a near infinite amount of time in the past, and you will live forever into the future. Once you buy that idea, past lives, of course there's past lives, because you've been around forever. If life on this planet, life predating this planet, life on other planets, sure, why not? You've lived forever. There's, quadrillions of years in the past, according to Scientology, not millions, not billions, like our scientists say. Hubbard says there's quadrillions of years in the past. So in all that time, you've lived millions and billions and trillions and quadrillions of lives. And you're going to, so obviously some of those lives were not going to have happened on planet Earth, which means you were an alien.
I was actually just thinking, even if you go back millions or billions of years, you're not going to be a human either. You're going to be whatever other not quite evolved, you know, back then. I can't fucking think of the way you explain
Well,
it.
Hubbard eventually said that evolution itself was a myth and an implant, and that it never really happened that way. That there's other ways that evolution occurred, and that bodies, these kind of bodies, the human bodies, have been around for way longer than you think. So. Yeah, but yes, there have been other body kinds and types, and there have been invader forces. Hubbard talks about cat people, and he talks about aliens that had like big claws for hands. And I mean, it's science fiction, man. He was a science fiction writer. Of course, he's going to talk about this.
H.P. Lovecraft. It just reminds me of his stories. I love Lovecraft.
Right. But it all stems from that idea that you are an immortal spiritual being. Because once you buy that idea, anything's possible. Anything.
It works the same way, again, going back to the similarities with the Dubs, because they work almost their entire religion off, I think it's the 1914 belief, and they've done this weird calculation to get to the year of 1914 when Jesus comes back, and that sort of is the basis of all of their belief. And even that, they have to sort of reconfigure every now and then just to keep up with the fact that time is still going and we haven't hit the new system, you know, like their new paradise. And it's just ridiculous, though. Like, it all hinges off something so simple, and even then when you take a step back, you go, that's kind of just a load of shit. Like, how can you believe that, you know? Like, and then the crazy piles on top of that, of course. You know, like, you can make up anything. Once you buy it, you've bought it, you know, like.
Exactly. These groups are an amazing exercise or demonstration in just how far you can stretch people's imaginations and credulity and get them to still claim that they really believe in this stuff. It's really amazing.
I think it has a lot to do with a person's ego, because in a lot of ways, it always has something to do with either a supreme knowledge or an ability to continue your life, you know, further than what is mortal. And so it seems to always be about an ego trip, you know, to the people at its core. It might not be the, you know, conscious level that you're thinking about it that way, but there's always some gain, you know, and there's always some, I want to be that one step above the other person. I want the truth, you know, like, whereas everyone else doesn't. I know the truth, you know, or I have the real religion, or I have the real knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very much part of it. You mix in with that some zealotry and some interpretation of experience, you know, subjective experience, and you get religious fervor, and that's where that comes from.
Cool. That's great answers. So next one is Jen with 1N asks, how many people leave when they get to level 3 and find out about Xenu? You know, like, this is too nuts, I'm out.
Not as many as you would think. It happens, but again, not as many as you think. And again, only 5% of Scientologists are actually getting to that level. So we're not talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I mean, right now, planet-wide, we're talking about maybe 35, 40,000 Scientologists total. So, you know, I wouldn't really want to give a number to that answer. I would just want to say some have. But by the time you're that committed and you're that, you know, invested, you buy into it.
One question I actually have is, would you have to be at that level to work at the Sea Org, or is that something you could be? No?
Nope.
Yep. Okay.
Nope. I never made it to that level.
Okay.
I found out about Xenu and all that stuff after I got out.
Oh, true. Wow.
Yeah, 27 years in, and all I got was clear, and then even that got taken away. That's an intermediate step between, you know, low life scumbag non-Scientologist and Xenu believer. Is the state of clear.
Now you'd be an SP, wouldn't you?
That's right. Now I'm an SP.
Yeah.
Yay! Where did
Yay for us.
That's right.
Well, it's a cooler club anyway. All the cool people are SPs.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mark Caesar asks, Chris, were you worried about being outed in everything by the Scientologists when you left?
Being outed?
Oh,
Yeah.
like when they come out after you, you know, like with all, you know, secrets and stuff like that, they'll expose and they'll slander you.
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I actually made a conscious decision when I got out and started speaking out. Before I started speaking out publicly, I made a very conscious decision that the Sea Org was not going to, or Scientology was not going to, blackmail me. I didn't have any secrets I was going to be ashamed of or afraid to confess to or be concerned about. And so far that continues to be true. And they don't have any deep, dark secrets to come after me with. They took their best shot in a website that they had made for me after I was on Leah's show. And that best shot was my ex-wife complaining about me.
Yeah,
so,
I got to admit,
well, guess what? She's my ex-wife. Of course she's going to complain about me.
I have checked out a lot of...
We got divorced because we had complaints, you know. Like,
I have looked.
Okay, you know.
I've looked at a lot of those websites that they've made, and they are some ridiculous websites. Hey? Like I don't know how
really
anyone
is.
could.
Scientology does not realize how ridiculous the world thinks they are. You know? So,
they are a bit of a laugh, though.
Sorry,
like you can't lie.
ridiculous.
You know, for us on the outside of, especially on the outside of all of the ingoings of Scientology and people having directly come out like yourself, it's such a like complete opposite thing. You're seeing you guys on all these docos and the good work is like how you do what you do. And I mean, like Leah, she's always like self-exposing herself. Like she's opening up and going, look, you can come at me with anything. This is, you know, she's already in Hollywood, so everyone sort of already is going to pick her apart for everything. So what are you going to do? And it's just such an opposite thing. And you read those websites, it's laughable. It is completely laughable. Even having never known you, you could laugh it off going, they are so full of shit, you know?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, you know, here's, and I'll just give you an example of something really, really stupid, is they write on the website that my son doesn't want to have anything to do with me. And last year, I go visit him. I throw pictures. I mean, we're Facebook friends. I got pictures of him on my Facebook wall. I mean, that's an obvious lie. And it's so
exactly.
easy to disprove, you know? So,
but I mean, hopefully the good thing in my mind, hopefully, is that the majority of people that are going to find those websites are normally people looking for you guys, not like, or the TV show, you know, like they're going to look up Leah Reminis TV show and it'll direct them. They'll hit the wrong link and they'll go. They're going to already know, you know. They're not going to suddenly read the website and go, oh, I didn't know this, and have a different opinion. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's petty.
Exactly.
Okay,
Anyway.
so great answers. Anyway, Bad Tempered Badger asks, "Yo, how much money did it cost overall to be part of the cult?"
Well, I worked for the organization for 25 years, so I didn't have to pay money and I didn't have money to pay because they weren't paying me anything.
Because they weren't, yeah, exactly.
So
you
what I
pay
gave
literally
was
with
time.
your lifetime. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, no big. It was only 25 years of my life.
I got to admit, dude, 25
so I
years
didn't
is a
really
life
pay anything.
sentence in my country. You know, that's what you
Yeah,
get for committing
was-
murder, and that's what they took of your life. That's, you know,
Yeah.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't fun. I'm not saying it was. Monetarily, a person going up to the highest levels of Scientology, which is OT, operating Thetan level 8, it could expect to pay minimum $750,000.
God fucking.
So, and most pay way more than that. Way more.
Because you get people that would
You know,
do the
there are
same
price
ones.
lists.
over and over again too.
There's
when
money you have to pay, so it's
oh my lord,
pretty bad.